For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
I'll try and be a bit enthusiastic because it's the Milestone episode, though.
Yeah.
Here I go. Hello and welcome to episode 10, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
Was that too high?
Quite the opposite.
Too much?
You sounded
no, not enough.
You sound like you were giving a eulogy with a gun to your head.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not just.
Sorry lot.
It's not just volume. It's pitch.
Hello and welcome to episode 10.
Yeah, that's better, but slightly less.
Yeah.
Serial
killer.
Slightly less Dale Winton in there.
Well, look, episode 10, nonetheless, regardless of my introduction, has now begun. This is the show. This is what you've got. This is the one with the milestone. I'm Isaac, and over there, virtually speaking,
is Declan.
Wow, long pause there, Declan. I'll be editing that one out for sure.
Well, I didn't know whether you were going to say is or sits or whatnot.
No, none of those.
Right, well,
how are you doing?
As well as one could be for having got up what seems like 3 minutes ago.
This is definitely the closest to waking up that we've recorded, and I wonder if that will be an obvious thing for the listenership. God, this is a lethargic show. I'll listen to it at bedtime.
Well, the milestone really is deserving of such attention, isn't it?
I thought so. I think we've put a lot of thought into this. We have a Google document up.
I know, yeah.
Unprecedented.
All the effort and energy has gone into preparing it so that now I've none left. I'm spent.
Oh, that's sad. How do you feel, though? Did you ever imagine as a young boy growing up in the backwaters of Essex that you'd one day develop and flourish into a podcast with 10 episodes under their belt?
No,
Can't imagine that you did.
I didn't. I did sort of dream of having a podcast when I first discovered them, and I was really interested in just starting one, just me. I didn't have any friends, but I realised that I lacked not only the knowledge of how to upload one, of how to submit it anywhere that anyone other than myself would be able to listen to it, but also that I lacked every single piece of necessary physical equipment to do so.
Oh, yeah. And given that that's basically only a microphone.
Yep, it was a real pipe dream.
Well, a pipe dream that nonetheless has been realised today as we barrel on boldly into uncharted waters for episode 10.
You say this, however.
What, you're saying it's just more of the same?
No, I mean, that definitely. Sorry.
Wow.
sorry to burst that bubble straight away.
I've actually put, in editing, I've put a Celebrate Good Times party bed under this entire set. And no, it doesn't get annoying.
The grandstand theme.
That's it. Yeah.
No, well, I feel that we may have to break up the union.
Oh, no. Is that our union or
Indeed.
Is Kingdom United?
No, ours.
Okay, well, elaborate on that.
Well, in just the last 5 minutes, as I left the room to get a drink before recording this podcast.
Little glimpse there behind the scenes into the life of the broadcaster. Can't wait for the memoir.
I opened up Facebook, as one does, and it offered me the chance to have a look back through my Facebook memories.
Oh, yeah.
And this is always a sad time for me because I came to social media very late. I think I only got Facebook in upper sixth or something.
Oh, wow. That must be like, for context, what year is that? 2011?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like being the 40-year-old virgin, essentially. And...
Except you're 18.
Yeah. And a virgin.
Well, that was implied. Thanks for clarifying.
But so what this means essentially is that all of the annoying Facebook tropes of a 13-year-old who's just discovered Wi-Fi managed to find their way very much into my early social media days. Okay. And I mean, this is still, 2 years on after that, so really there's no excuse. But
you're an adult at this point. You're capable of making decisions that didn't lead to wanky Facebook statuses.
Yeah. But following hot off the back of something you said at some point within the last 4 episodes, God help me if I'm going to figure out which one exactly.
If we of all people knew which episodes had which content, when we have to tweet about them when they actually go out.
Yeah.
I'm like, what
did we
was
say?
Because the titles are hardly, and we have no one to blame but ourselves.
Oh, no.
Descriptive.
Yeah.
They don't really tell you a great deal.
No, and our episode descriptions,
Similarly vague.
yes, they are intentionally focused on the briefest possible topics that we mentioned.
Something that we just both think about whilst gazing off into the distance and never actually mention in the show.
June 2nd, 2013.
That's so weird because I was just on. I preemptively have gone to my Facebook memories because I was worried that this was going to be something I'd done.
No.
That's the guilt of my conscience.
This is, I think, before we knew each other.
But the first one is from 8 years ago, 2nd of June as well.
Well,
2009.
That's because it's on this day.
Oh, yeah.
Memories.
I've solved that one. That was the stupidest thing I've ever done. Can you believe I've been up for an hour?
At 21:49.
Peak late night Facebook status.
Oh, yeah. Are you ready?
Catching the early evening crowd.
Because this could be the very end of the episode and the show.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely do not know where I would be in life without tea.
Oh, no.
I fear that were it to become suddenly and tragically unavailable, I would soon be found in a gutter somewhere, begging for scraps and dancing for alms.
Oh,
And then
so much.
And then just to make it worse, I've ended it with an ellipsis.
Oh no, that's all of my least favourite things.
Yeah.
We've never covered my distaste for people ending things with an ellipsis, but it either implies it's this kind of faux wistful vibe.
Yep.
Just like, I'm just throwing this thought out, see what you guys think, ...
Yeah.
Or it's like this slightly, I don't know if it's intentional, but I always read it as quite scathing.
Yeah.
It's horrible either way.
Yeah.
And of course, so we did talk about the tea thing on air, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's something that most people
in
know.
episodes 4 to 9 somewhere.
You remember them. You can go back and listen to all of them if you like to catch that bit. I was going to say then, foolishly, we'd link to the bit of the episode. But can you imagine trawling back
through 7 hours of content?
So I guess the first and only question that springs to my mind is, well, no, it's kind of twofold, really. Why did you do that? And are you ready to publicly apologise?
Well, as to why, I can only imagine that it was something silly, like I had just had the last tea bag in the pot.
Oh no!
And my life had flashed before my eyes, and that was it. Really, I thought if I'd come to this, but minutes later, I could have been left bereft.
Mm-hmm.
As to what was the second question? Am I ashamed?
Not are you ashamed? No, are you prepared to kind of apologise on record for ever having written that and just distance yourself from it?
Absolutely. I've made a pledge towards not deleting these things.
That's bold, because I know that most people use memories as a "what shall I delete today" tool.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not saying that I haven't ever deleted stuff, but I'd like to leave them there as a monument to the fact that I've grown as a person.
That's nice. I think that's good. They are. It's nice of Facebook because there can't be many people alive for whom the experience of going back through old Facebook statuses is a positive, because it's just a litany of friends you've fallen out of touch with, relationships that have fallen apart, and indeed the most hateful you've ever been at any stage in your own life. And the fact that Facebook thinks it's appropriate to wake us up with that notification, it's like the first thing you get from Facebook every day.
Yeah.
It's just, I question their kind of approach to their user base. Why do they want to hurt us?
Yeah. And so they've really hit me with that one over the last couple of years that they've been running this initiative. I've sadly, this is the thing about the Facebook memories thing, is that it's a bit like a sort of ghost, in that I don't know how you possibly find it.
Oh, what, the button itself?
Yeah.
It's just it kind of moves around every few weeks.
Because
in my experience.
Because my only knowledge of how to get in is if I open up Facebook and it's there, I'll go into it. But beyond that, I've no idea.
Like a kind of room of requirement.
Yeah.
If what you required was latent embarrassment at your previous faux pas.
That's the one. So, because I wanted to see who'd liked it. Because there were, would you believe it, 9 people who had.
I do believe it, yeah, because any T is just the ultimate leveler when it comes to the likes.
It's the ultimate. It's the ultimate in virtue signalling.
Yeah, fucking
It's
T
just
police.
it's one step behind posting a change.gov or whatever it is
about save the spiders again.
Yeah,
They're always saving insects. Not that I'm against saving the bees. I love those guys. Okay, I want to put that out there on episode 10. I've been holding it back for 9 episodes. My bee manifesto will be launching soon. But change.org, one might consider that there are other things that need changing.org,
Yeah.
and that bees can't just monopolise that entire industry of petitions.
Speaking of launching, though.
Wow, that is professional. Are you a bronze award winning?
I don't know if we've mentioned that before, but
I don't. If we haven't, then allow me to set the record straight. We are bronze award winners. Okay. No one can take that away from us. Just as no one really gave it to us, and we basically fixed the evening.
at an event where we didn't throw 7 pint glasses onto the floor.
It wasn't like a Jewish wedding, though. It wasn't intentional.
No,
We weren't just celebrating amidst a flurry of broken glass and broken dreams. It was
it
was all accidental. It was just
had
the heat
very
of the
little,
moment.
yeah, very little care for the feet of anyone at URY.
Oh yeah, and indeed much of their other parts, broadly speaking. But yeah, so you segued us, may I say seamlessly, into talking. This is, as we were discussing before we went on air, an admin-focused episode. When you get to episode 10 of anything, or when you're like at a season end finale, you want to go back and have a clip show. But obviously we don't want to edit that together. So instead what we're doing is kind of revitalising shame as a concept. And with it, tell us about, Declan, the launch of our brand new website.
Yes, well, we mentioned this 4 episodes ago. Briefly.
Did we really?
Yeah, we mentioned it.
4 episodes.
We mentioned it in episode 6 with the. Oh no! So it probably would have been episode. Well, okay. Well, here we again bear witness to our dreadful lack of knowledge as to the website.
Sometime in the last month.
We mentioned that it would be coming.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It
we
was.
weren't lying.
It was episode 8 because
Right.
it.
Oh yeah,
it
because it's
with
called Shame City.
Yeah, and it was with Lin-Manuel.
Yeah. A predominant dweller therein.
Exactly. But it's official. As of me speaking
Now.
these words,
Mm-hmm.
he said, hoping.
Hoping
Shame.
we've remembered.
Shame.city will be open for business.
Oh my Christ, I hear the audience proclaim as one. So tell us about, what is this Shame.city you speak of, this mythical place, this last bastion of sanity?
What it is, it's a little website
Oh, you've
That we-
undersold.
that we haven't actually quite finished as of recording this.
Because there's a bit where we've put bios of ourselves with our not delightful faces, and instead of any like text about it, we just went lol.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't change that. Maybe we do. We'll see.
Yeah. So, but predominantly, Isaac has worked extremely hard to build this because
Yeah,
I'll be
debatably.
honest, it's literally several other languages for me. I couldn't begin to build something like this.
I kind of approach any technical task like this with the same attitude that my poor driving instructor once noted, because I started driving lessons, and as anyone who knows me knows, I cannot drive now. I'm still on my provisional license. I feel like I can drive mechanically, and Graham, God rest his soul, I killed him in a car crash, agreed at the time. But after our first lesson, I was quite angsty about it, because I hadn't really been in a car, because we didn't really own a car growing up. And I was just sort of, my response to stressful scenarios is to kind of barrel through. And I guess that's something that works in a lot of cases. But when you're in a car...
Not at all.
Well, see, that's the thing. It didn't not work. It was just that afterwards he pulled us over after we'd done a bit of roundabouting. And he was like, right, You're doing all right, mate. There's one thing, you are an aggressive driver on the road. I was like, Graham, I'm really sorry. I was just handling pressure. So yeah, doing this website thing, when you know so little about the whole concept, is very much just kind of smashing your way through buttons until they kind of give in to your eventual desires. And I think that's what Shame.City is all about.
And
it's haphazard.
He has suitably smashed this block of internet marble into something quite beautiful.
Michelangelo-esque.
It's got sliders.
Oh,
it's got
plenty.
It's got jokes.
Yeah.
It's got a very intrusive newsletter sign up.
But you're going to want to sign up for it because, at the very least, you'll have a net gain of no emails into your life because I promise we have literally nothing to contact you about at the moment. It's just on the vague hope that in future we might, maybe have something worth telling you about one day, which I think is fair enough. But we should say then, so the pure admin of it is Shame.City. Go there now. It's going to be your hub for all things related to the podcast and our broader world.
Yeah, you can find out about the show.
Yeah.
You can find out about us.
There's an episode directory with like all the artwork that you can look at. Artwork is you're right, not too strong a term here.
No, not at all.
Perfectly accurate. If we talk about any like photos like of Eeyore's birthday party as a little callback for you guys.
They'll be somewhere.
So probably, yeah. I can't guarantee it. No. We'll give it 70% chance.
Yeah. However, what there is on there, not yet, but hopefully will be,
as of now,
a link to a form.
A form?
And not just any form.
You haven't made it sound very exciting yet.
Not just any form.
Okay.
A contest form.
Wow, let's just call it a competition.
All right, okay. I was just trying to build up a bit of suspense.
What you did there, you built a lot of suspense, but then you ended in the word form, which, as any stand-up will tell you, is one of the great errors of the trade. We've done a little competition contest sort of thing to just open us out, to kind of give you an incentive to check it out. And before I explain what it is, it's shame.city/contest. Shame.city/contest. You're going to want to go.
And you're going to
want to give it a taste.
Haven't we got an absolute rations book of prizes to give away to you? It
disgusts me, our simple generosity. It just flies in the face of everything I thought humanity was about. This selfish, tribalistic... No, throw that out the window. We're giving away prizes such as a handmade, that's a shame, t-shirt. And it will be a shame. It will be in your size, your colour choice, maybe, if you answer
any of
email.
the cheapest colours available at our nearest Primark.
Such as white, such as beige. But no, look, let's read out the prizes because we haven't skimped. First place, right? There are 3 places on offer. They get increasingly shit.
Imagine that, a tiered system.
In this day and age, in this workaday world, that some beacon of light is handing out, like a Christ figure, basically. Prizes that include, for first place, a digital copy, and now this might seem quite left field to many of our listeners, but we know that this is something that has internet appeal. It's won lots of Game of the Year awards, and I was just playing it last night. It's good. A digital copy of Overwatch for PC. Wow. We should say wow after each one so people know they're good. A digital copy of Overwatch for PC.
Wow.
Cool.
It's good because my laptop's not good enough to play it.
Yeah. But yours is, listener. So enter.
Absolutely.
A custom-made That's a Shame t-shirt. Wow. Now, we haven't decided if that's entirely... Because when we did Thought Part back in episode 3... God, I knew that off the top of my head. I'm very proud. Anyway, I've derailed myself. Our original plan was to decorate t-shirts for the other one with more or less offensive, probably more statements and icons from history. Not the one you're thinking of. We'd never have gone full swastika.
No.
We're not Nazis, but, there's a fine line. And we were prepared to tread it.
But let's just say the Make-A-Wish Foundation was going to take an absolute
They were
beating.
taking a hit. Just joking, we love you guys. I was about to say, if you want to send us to Disney World, get in touch. But I think that would be to misunderstand their entire raison d'etre.
Could you imagine
Quite
worse
substantial.
publicity than two able-bodied white men
Privileged males from a podcast.
demanding to be sent to Disney?
It's less of a wish and more of a threat at this point. Yeah, we were going to decorate T-shirts, and now, given that we have the supplies but have not decorated them, we're prepared, listeners, to do this for you, for the lucky winners.
Look, I didn't have the heart to tell you this, but I have 100% thrown that glitter away. So we will have to return to the pound shop once
Also,
more.
there's another shop called Tiger, which I think, if you're listening, guys, sponsorship deal there. Nice Danish shop. They sell a lot of poster paints and all kinds of decorative items.
Yeah,
we're really going to make
we
these
won't be
special.
going there.
It's going to be
expensive.
a customized experience, though, isn't it? It's money. Money can't buy these,
sure.
quite literally.
No.
Although, if you want to send us a tenner, we'll make you one. That's the offer. So there's that. It might also have the podcast logo on it printed nicely somewhere, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
A random Steam code. Pfft, why not?
Yeah.
Assorted. Now, this one's probably the vaguest proposition in an already vague list. Assorted TAS. That's a shame. Merch. Now, we don't have any. We haven't looked into making any.
No.
But our promise to you is that we will at some point. And if you win, something will arrive. I'm thinking stickers, fridge magnets.
Key rings.
Yeah, that genre of tat, I guess is what you refer to it as.
Tat.
That's the one. Then we've got an invitation to be on the show, if you like. Now, that's special, and we'll talk more about that later. But finally, I want to introduce something that I think is going to stick with us, and I think should always be our default prize in anything we ever offer from this point on.
Absolutely.
And these are, well, it says here, for first place, you get 2 exclusive Shame City Drown Your Sorrows tokens. Now, that'll be a link. You click it. What do you get? Oh, it takes you to the website. It's all coming together. It's like the end of an Agatha Christie. Shame.city/token explains. Basically, all you need to know is that if you've got one of these tokens and you see either me or Declan in the real world, you come up to us, you hand us the token with a firm look in your eyes and a solid hand gesture. That is non-negotiable. And we'll buy you a drink of your choice from the nearest bar. Let's be honest, we'll probably be in the nearest bar.
Yep. And it
So it
will
won't
probably be the cheapest one in whatever city of the world you find us.
Yeah, that's true, actually, isn't it? So we're kind of hedging our bets that we'll always be only in cheap places, but even cheap places do expensive drinks. They'll always be the most expensive, and if that's what you want, then begrudgingly and with the knowledge that we'll never want to talk to you again, that's what we'll get.
That you will be mentioned as the first point of business in the immediately in the next episode.
Not favourably, surely.
Probably not. No, if you come up and order a pint of vodka, that is the end.
I will be planting so much illegal substance on your person and photographing you with that pint of vodka such that you're taken in.
There's no end to the volume of Bible spam, of sex education pamphlets that we will bombard every inbox
Nappies
you own.
companies.
Yep.
They also give out a lot of free samples, as Jacob knows.
I like that you
But
said.
yeah, that's the first
sorry,
prize.
I like that you said as well that you're going to have him photographed with this pint of vodka to have him taken in, as if it just looked like water.
I'll be sure to point out the viscosity on camera. That's something I'll handle.
Brilliant.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
So that's our first place. It's pretty powerful, I'm sure you'll agree. Second place and third place are obviously just shitter versions of that, but that's what you expect.
For not doing as
not
well in
here
the competition.
Exactly, I'm not here to give consolation prizes.
No.
I can't make first place worse than third. That would be a topsy-turvy world, to which I will not and cannot subscribe.
No.
But yeah, you want to go to shame.city/contest and get on that hype. You've got to do a few bullshit things like sign up to the mailing list, which again doesn't mean anything, so don't worry about doing that. There's some stuff like following us on Twitter. You basically get more entries the more stuff you do.
Yeah.
And that's fair. You get something, we get probably nothing, let's be
Almost
honest.
certainly nothing.
And everyone, apart from us, is a winner. But yeah, that's the shame.city vibe. I don't think there's much more to say about it than check it out. Like Declan said, we've got all that content. We've got episode links, iTunes and Stitcher links, all the social stuff, a contact form if you want to get in touch easily, which leads us to our new email address, because you'll remember that we've been plugging it quite prodigiously over the last 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Time to change all that. Some would say undoing our previous work, but I'm here to say it's a branding effort and we've thought about it. So Declan, tell us about the new email address. What I have here.
Well, our hope, listeners, is to really expand the Shame City empire, as I'm going to call it.
Ooh,
you know,
goodness.
In a bold bid of modern day internet imperialism.
Hasn't been enough of that lately.
The tiny island of Shame City will hopefully grow and grow.
Like a cancer. But a
yes,
good one.
but one of those, benign,
Yeah.
but at the same time powerful.
You don't want to not get it
Don't be
checked, is what I'm
underestimated,
saying.
yeah.
Don't go seeing that a mole has developed and spread across your thorax and not run to the doctors immediately.
You can't be complacent in the face of any growth.
No.
So we're rebranding the email, and there will hopefully be several other emails as the days, months, decades go by.
Goodness.
Presuming neither of us dies. Well, I mean, I suppose presuming Isaac doesn't die. I mean, if I die,
if I do, you're just locked out of everything.
yeah. If I die, I mean, things will almost certainly carry on just as they did before.
We'll get a different member of the Delane family to take up the mantle.
Yeah. So we have absolutely decided that our new email address for just getting in touch in general is going to be TAS at shame.city.
TAS, standing, of course, for That's a Shame, at shame.city. It's easy to remember. It's easy to type.
Very.
It's fun. It's an exercise for the fingers, a workout that you probably aren't getting in this world.
So, so if you've got anything that can't be handled through the contact form, the feature form, the contest, or by signing up to the newsletter or tweeting to us, then feel free to send us whatever you damn well like.
Yeah.
And we will...
feedback, thoughts.
We will, in some sense, respond.
Should we read our email that we got in the week?
I
Just
think
to prove that we do.
I think we absolutely must.
Okay, so we've got an email from a person calling themselves Roy.
Thanks, Roy.
Thanks, Roy. Yeah, shout out to Roy. You can expect a token never. Dear That's a Shamecast, he says.
Oh, you should
all
probably
kinds of...
You should probably read the subject heading as well.
Oh, yeah, the subject heading is Podcast Cube.
Bold.
And the email address includes the word cubes, which suggests to me a certain...
theme.
Yeah, and also a cowardice. What I'm saying is Roy fucks cubes on the daily.
There's no
we have video
getting
proof
around it.
If you go to shame.city, our homepage at the moment is just a big video, blurred out, of course, of Roy and a cube. Dear That's a Shamecast, he starts, all kinds of random words in that sentence capitalised. I enjoyed your latest podcast.
Thanks
He's
very much.
referring, of course, to episode 9. And enjoyed your feature about Ice Cube, which sounds a lot like
Ice Cube. Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about this in future podcasts. Brackets number 11. Another bracket. We could also hear about other cubes. D's cube? Question mark. Never closes the brackets boldly.
Nope.
Late for me. He sends at. Let's find out what time it was sent exactly. Late for me. He says at 11:09 a.m.
Bold.
All the best. So thanks, Roy, for that. We probably won't be revisiting the cube anytime soon. It's one of those seminal moments that we leave, I think.
It also feels like it's very open to being manipulated once I already know what all of the things are supposed to stand for.
Yeah.
I could
if
make
just
myself out to be an absolute
non-egotistical,
Yeah.
stressed, a lie, basically. But we appreciate, Roy, your enthusiasm for the cube. Why not share that episode with a friend by going to shame.city, clicking on the episodes link. You can listen online now. We didn't really mention that, but you can listen to all the shows if you don't want to fuck around with iTunes. God bless them for allowing us into their fold. Then have a listen straight through the website, Roy. And if you'd like to email in, you can expect that same kind of attention to.
I mean,
detail.
We won't be doing the cube again, but if anyone finds any similar shameful
Nonsense.
drivel, really, on the internet, feel free to send it in.
Head on.
And we will...
TAS@shame.city. Nothing else is changing. We still got the same Twitter handle, because whoever the fucking bastard is that's got @that's a shame and doesn't even tweet from it, until they can be proven dead, we can't actually approach Twitter for that handle.
Whether it's by our hand or otherwise.
Whether it's photographed with a pint of vodka bleeding out slowly from the eyeballs, or just not. We'll work that out. This leads us on, though. We mentioned in the contest that one of the prizes is to be a guest on the show. Declan, tell us about something we've put more thought into than the rest of the podcast combined. Our first ever feature.
Second
ever feature.
Well, guess what, guys? Build up the tension again, because there's another form coming.
Ooh, just keep going with this form-based fun. Hashtag form-based fun.
So we are starting another feature. I suppose it is our first real feature, because
it's our first big one.
The other one is, I mean, it's fun, but it's very
it's
simple.
Touch and go, whether it'll work.
I wanted to talk about that as well, because I worry that it's an indefinite story.
Do you think it never ends?
Well, we didn't have to click on anything to start it. You opened the app and that was it. So I worry that the notion of being hooked is literal in that you simply, there is no end.
I'm not ready for that kind of commitment.
No.
I reckon if we were to click through enough to get to the end, then they have some hurried and beleaguered intern that they're hiring through like Elance from Pakistan or something in a call centre, being underpaid by the West to just type out new nonsense about the random baby. Quick, what's he doing now?
There's no
just
end.
Get rid of the random baby. There's a small car again.
There's no end to the things that be attributed to the absentee father. But yeah, anyway, leaving that shameful feature behind, we're moving on, and we're hoping, given the wonderful feedback we had after episode 6, definitely this time, with the wonderful Jay Dange, we're hoping to get some more people on the show.
Because we don't want you to tire to fatigue of our voices. Now that we've moved to a twice-a-week schedule, we want to give you some variety, introduce you to some new people,
and
some new faces,
some new perspectives on the idea of shame.
Yeah.
Because whilst we do have an inexhaustible
every day
catalogue,
I find 10 more things, at the very least,
that are particularly shameful. Mm-hmm. We feel as though it'd be good to bring in some fresh voices. So essentially, if you'd like to get in touch, if you'd like to perhaps have a go on the show, if you've got a show that you wish to promote and you want to come on here and meet a new audience, then absolutely head to the website. Yeah, it'll be on there somewhere.
Yeah,
I haven't decided where yet.
No,
but it'll be there.
The show, but we forgot.
And it will also be posted in various places around the internet.
Yes.
Or indeed, if you can't find it, just get in touch via our new email, tas@shame.city.
Yeah.
Bronze Award, guys, Bronze Award. And we'll send it out to you. But yeah, it's essentially a segment in which you get to come on and in a not at all ripped off from Room 101 segment,
you will detail
you will detail to us something that you particularly despise, find saddening,
loathe,
find shameful. And we'll have a little chat about it and see whether or not we agree with you. I mean, as we go on, maybe the feature itself will develop. Lord knows it probably needs to. Maybe some sort of, again, not ripped off from Room 101, like a Hall of Shame kind of thing where all of the most shameful things brought on will, I don't know, be on the internet, get a sticker.
And then once a year they all get to parade around the town.
Yeah, we'll do a little
up like
Mardi
the thing
Gras.
We find most shameful.
Yeah.
It's going to be big, guys. Check out the website for that, shame.city. But yeah, if you're anyone, really, all you need is a microphone and Google Chrome, and we can have you on. And the more the merrier, really. Yeah,
it's something we're quite excited about.
I like meeting new people. I know especially everything I've said so far would suggest otherwise.
We like meeting new people when we don't have to see them or indeed speak to them for longer than, say, 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's the ideal length. You get in, you get out. You've made a friend for life. someone you can really count on,
Yeah.
I think. So yeah, get in touch about that. You can, like we say, there'll be forms all over the gaff. It's a very form-centric episode, you'll have noticed. But if you can't find it and you'd like to come on, just click on the contact form on the site, put like, let me on the show please, all in caps in the subject line, and we will do just that. I think that's all the admin out of the way.
I couldn't deal with
It's only
another
taken us
second
35
of it.
minutes.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff, guys. Which leads us, of course... Oh, no, I've got one more bit of housekeeping. I just remembered.
No.
I just wanted to address something from episode 8, Shame City, which we've mentioned. We've been fact-checked, Declan. You may have seen in our email.
Oh, I did see, yes.
We had an email from my girlfriend about some of the spurious lies.
It's how she always gets in touch
It's how we
with him.
contact each other. Yeah.
Their relationship is very
very
form-centric.
Yeah. Like most things in my life, it goes through the vehicle of Gmail. And she wanted to pull us up on a couple of things related to specifically my... Oh, no, actually, I think there was something you said as well, representation of Hamilton.
Okay.
First of all, we may have misattributed the first line or misspoken. I meant to say that Lin-Manuel's first line in the show is, my name is Alexander Hamilton, and there's a million things I haven't done. And, of course, regardless of who's saying it and when it comes, it's still abject shit. I don't think she was really querying that.
We're not relinquishing our grasp on that particular aspect of what we said.
And then next, I made the bold claim that Lin-Manuel had, in his narcissism, put himself on the poster. The poster is, of course, a silhouette. I maintain it is of Lin-Manuel. Because it's supposed to be of Hamilton.
There's no chance in hell that it is not.
It's difficult to prove. I've emailed the producers about it. Cameron McIntosh will be getting back to me, I imagine, very shortly. Did you see, though, that for some reason we've now gone into a Hamilton news segment? Riz Ahmed, who we know and love from such films as Four Lions, Rogue One, may be playing Hamilton when it comes to the West End. That's what the buzz is.
Oh, wow.
I think I like him enough that would be a tempting proposition, because I really like that guy.
As long as Lynn's not in it, I mean...
Oh, yeah, as long as he's as far away from the whole project as can be.
I'm sure he'll be
actually conceived.
opening it up with a little speech.
Every night he'll be doing a different rap. He's lazily stolen from somewhere else, changed a few words on rhymezone.com.
Yep.
Tragic. But yeah, that's... we like to hold ourselves to a high editorial standard here at That's a Shame.
Yeah.
If we say something wrong, get in touch. Maybe you're from change.org and you want to query the fact that everything you've ever sent me is about beef. I'm willing to have that discussion. That's a no, TAS at shame.city. Already fucking that up. So look, I promised listeners of episode 9, was it?
Yes.
About this, that I'd be going to an escape room.
You did.
And I would have some follow-up story to tell you about it. So settle in, pull up a nice bucket of cocoa, or whatever the fuck you guys do to get off, and have a listen to this. So, it was such a complicated experience, and it lasted only an hour. Less than an hour, actually, because, spoilers, we did escape in under the hour's time. Don't want to keep people on edge for that for too long, because I don't want to put that strain on your cardiovascular system.
Of course not.
But so much happened in such a small amount of time that we had to spend a couple of hours afterwards in a pub, like just writing it down, because there was almost too many steps involved in this absolute Rubik's cube of an escape room. And my main takeaway from it was that it was really fun. There was lots that was nonsense, of course, but the main thing that I want to get across, as I explained to you what happened in this escape room, is that I think escape rooms in general have the potential to be the best art ever devised, as long as they're themed around just horrible Saw-esque murder. There is so much scope to make it the most terrifying experience you could imagine. So this one, we rocked up. Jacob had booked us for some reason, maybe it was anyone left, an 8 o'clock start at night. And Canterbury, as you can probably imagine from just the name of the place, it's not vibrant in any meaningful sense of the term. It has that quality that a few of these small cities do. City in inverted commas. That after like 5:30, everything's closed and everyone's vanished. Probably into pubs, into depression, maybe into the church. And so we strolled along the high street at 7:45 or something. because I didn't really know where it was. I just knew it was somewhere along there. And we were looking out just past the normal shops, just silence everywhere. It was like tumbleweed just scooting past. And eventually we happened upon this place, which we've definitely walked past quite a few times because it is just on the main road. It's a really nondescript entrance, which doesn't, you might think that's part of their theme, that they're like a secret organisation, but it's actually got nothing to do with it, and just they haven't bothered to do any outside thing,
Wonderful.
which is fine.
Okay.
And we went inside a completely empty office that looked like there'd been a bomb scare, and everyone had just run out and just sort of sat down on our own for a little while on a sofa before the only person who was working there came out, and she was very nice. She just greeted us, told us a bit about the concept of an escape room. We had to sign a waiver, which is always a good sign before any activity.
Yeah.
On a little iPad. And then, but she was everything about it so far was like we were signing on for job seekers allowance or something. It was a very sterile office environment. It was iPad. There was no sense of what was to come. This kind of continued.
Yeah, there's no part of your story so far that couldn't easily be looking for the dole queue.
Yeah, exactly. And so this was all about to change, actually, let's be fair.
Okay.
Because she led us up we had to leave the building first and go into the next door building, which had a big Airbnb sign above it.
Oh, that's good. Not at all.
It's an escape room / Airbnb.
Not at all cumbersome.
Weird design choice there. But when we got up, that's when it really kicked in. The first thing I was met with was a big chalk sign that said...
Sorry, is that just a really good scam that if you don't escape in the hour, you've just got to pay to stay?
You just live there, yeah. You pay for the night. It's a powerful bit of marketing. There was a big sign on a door in chalk that said next hanging, Jacob and the Peasant, because he had opted not to tell them my name. So I was just the Peasant. Jacob and the Peasant sounds like a really shit kind of punk band.
Can we also say that had he put your name down, there's no guarantee that it would have been correct.
No,
might I ask you to very briefly explain your very memorable trip to the hairdressers?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I've had this in my list to mention for a while because there are ongoing... It's pretty much every month or something, a new name-based error occurs. And this comes from a position of, I haven't got a name that's from a non-dominant ethnicity. It's Isaac, as you'll know. I don't know why I just told you guys. It's not like people are failing to spell some Nigerian surname because they've never bothered to gaze outside their own window. This is a 5-letter name. 2 of them are the same letter. You'd think it would be kind of easy. That's just the first name. So when I was at York for 3 years, I went to the same hair place. I can never think of the right word. Hairdresser. It sounds a bit fancy. It wasn't really a barber. It was just, let's call it a haircut shop. Okay? We're all agreed.
Okay.
For the whole time, I really don't like getting my hair cut, and in fact it's something I need to do like today or tomorrow. Just a bit of behind the scenes there. And so when I find somewhere that works and that seem to, just broadly take into account any of the specifications that you offer when they ask what you actually want done, rather than just winging it, as many want to do, I tend to stick with them. And stick with them I did. It was one of these, had ideas above its station places that when you'd go in, they would ask, have you been here before, sir? And I'd be like, yep, lots of times, like last month, the month before that, and the month before that. And then they were like, right, okay, if we could just take a name. They didn't take bookings, but they needed to know your name for some reason every time you went. And I would always have this painful exchange with the many and varied members of staff who ended up working there across the 3-year period, where they were looking up my name on a database. And my full name is Isaac Bernier Doyle. So I'm not under any illusion that it isn't both long and wanky. But if you imagine how many times I've had to spell it already, I've got that down to a T. BERNIER-DOYLE. There's a cadence to it. I know where I stand.
It's like a phone number.
Exactly. It's like the BDDD thing that we were talking about.
Yeah. Do people still get wrong? But fuck
It's
them.
like AC/DC, like you said. So every time I'd go in, there'd be this stilted kind of exchange as they looked me up on this database, and they'd say, can you spell that for me? First name, Isaac, yeah. Is that 2 S's? No, that's 2 A's. ISAC. Like God wrote in that Bible. and they'd find that bit was all right. And then the surname, sir, that's B-E, and I'd spell that as well. And eventually, after looking up variants, I'd be like, maybe it's under BD, because that's what I say to people that I don't want to spell it to. Maybe it's under Doyle. Like, there are lots of variants. But after going through all of these every time, a kind of knowing smile would appear on the faces of the reception person. And they'd be like, oh, yeah, okay, sir, I see it. You're there. I see what the issue was. We've found it. Go and sit down. You'll be called when it's your turn. And so the last time I ever went to this place, and I vow never to go again, having found out what I did, I decided to investigate this a little further. And as luck would have it, I can't remember what they were doing. They were like, the back room or something was being redone. So for some reason, the desk with the computer on was in a slightly different place. And that slightly different place was in front of one of the hairdressing like stalls, which has, as you'll know, a big mirror on the wall. So I could see behind what they were doing on their overly secret computer screen. I always kind of resent when somewhere like Sainsbury's, they really hold that monitor off away from you, like it's got some secret knowledge.
You are not allowed to see it.
I hate that.
All sorts of state secrets.
And so I go through the whole rigmarole again. Isaac, nope, that's 2 A's. 1 S, yep. No Z's, no. I know it sounds like there's one, but there's not, I promise. Bernier Doyle, Berni, yep. Hyphen. No, there's definitely a hyphen, yep. Doyle, D-O-Y-L-E. Nothing there. Try BD. Okay, try Doyle, try Bernier. So we can sit. There it is. I've found the problem. And I, at this point, leant just to the side as she was kind of typing in that my appointment was now on, to see what over this 3-year period had been the ultimate goal of this interaction, and why every time I'd ever experienced this same kind of wistful, just I see what the problem is. So that tone had emerged from all these different people's voices, all these like hairdressing students who were going through the system. And what it was, my name was written ISSAC, of course.
Wonderful.
That's the forename. Surname, Bernadette, no, 7 question marks in a row. Isaac, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, and then 2 more. Every day for 3 years that I went there, I'd been spelling out my entire name for fucking no reason.
What?
They didn't even have the decency to
edit it.
Oh yeah, someone's put you in under as if you were some kind of mystery Eurovision act. Isaac 7 times question marks. Do you want me to update? No, that's fine.
It's just
Isaac,
so like
7
lazy that, you know, okay, the first person doesn't get it right, or like maybe you said it over the phone, there was some interference, nobody could quite hear. But then for 3 years to see it and be enough of
and that's not an exaggeration. It was probably
yeah.
at most every month and a half I would leave between going to this same place for 3 years.
To just fucking leave it.
To be called Mr. Question Mark.
Isaac, whatever.
Like I'm fucking having my identity withheld from the public because I'm wanted for some dreadful public crime. Horrible idiots. So yeah, to go back to the sign, if Jacob had told them my name, I can only imagine what concomitants of symbols and character hell would have ended up on there. They'd probably have just gone with Jacob and the peasant anyway, let's be honest. So we go through. Oh, no. Out here is now where it really ramps up into the story. We start to be fed all this. As you can imagine, a lot of the power of the escape room is in how much they can preset the atmosphere so that you're not just treating it like a room, you're treating it like an immersive, almost theatrical experience.
So like that wonderful video before Laser Quest.
Very much like the time jump video.
Did you feel the power of the cogs? Did you feel...
I'll be honest, I've never felt more power from a cog in my life.
Incredible.
And I've dealt with a lot of clockwork in my time. Don't ask me why. She stands there, and suddenly this friendly office worker character, who before now had just been offering us a drink, telling us where the bathroom was, I'll hang up your coat, sir, sign this waiver, don't bother reading it, don't worry about it. She transformed into the exact same person, giving a pre-written 15-second spiel.
Oh, right.
That was to set up this. This is about the length of it. So, guys, you're obviously you're prisoners. You've done a treason. You've done a treason. Is a verbatim quote from the pre-written script. You've done a treason, and it's the 15th century, and you're going to go to prison. You'll want to escape though, because it's a hanging. That was it.
You'll want to escape though is a wonderful aside.
You'll want to escape from this escape room. Oh, really? I thought it was just come in and admire the walls.
Thought we'd very much resigned ourselves to being hanged.
I was going to live here forever, man.
You know, we've repented. We see the error of our ways, and we're very much on board with the idea of being hanged.
I mean, if like us, you have done a treason, then there's only one thing for it, and that thing is hanging. Now, the theming really ramps up a gear here because she pulls out of her pocket the longest, flimsiest chain you ever did see, and 2 padlocks. And for no good reason, because as you'll learn, the first step of the escape room was to reverse this, and that was to happen mere minutes later. Jacob and I were shackled together at the leg on this 25-foot long chain that you could probably kick apart by accident if you were just trying to step around a bit of dog shit.
And can we just say as well that nobody has ever been able to swiftly or efficiently use chains in the 21st century.
No,
I can't imagine that this was a process where she bent down and within seconds you were shackled helplessly together. I imagine this was a drawn-out experience in which you and Jacob had to wonder quite where to look for about 5 minutes.
That could have been sucked out of this fairly banal plot point
of having done a treason
was just removed entirely by the length and cumbersome nature, as you say, of the shackling itself. We had to just put our legs in weird places, had to click the padlock shut because it didn't quite work the first time. Regardless,
right,
we are sent inside what I will generously describe as a cupboard, which Jacob whispered to me immediately. Do you think this is it? Because if it had been it, if that was the room from which we were to escape, and that was it, then I would have escaped and firebombed the Airbnb into the ground. It was a tiny little dank, dark cupboard space with a bench for no reason and loads of chalk all over the walls, which was kind of cool. It was supposed to be like you're in prison tallying the days.
Right.
That was the theme. So there were lots of tally marks on the walls, and behind you, well, no, you kind of went in facing a big door with it had a big pull sort of handle.
Yeah.
And a carabiner attached to it. And the idea was that there was a combination lock, and the idea was you're going to decipher a combination from the walls of this room, probably, pull this handle, and it would open a hatch that meant you could crawl under that door into the main body of the escape room. And so we looked around the walls. There was only, on one side of the walls was stuff basically couldn't have been more obvious that you weren't supposed to look there. It was just turn back, don't be reading this wall. Ooh, what's that? Irrelevant detail. So you read the wall that had a message on it and numbers. So it had different numbers on it, and then a message that was I've been in prison now for 100 days. At the top, and top was underlined, was blah, blah, blah. But to my left and right and at my feet. And so the idea was that each of these directions was telling you the order of the 4 numbers in this vertical combination lock. Quite clever. A decent start.
Okay, yeah.
She told us that some people have been stuck there for the entirety of the puzzle.
Well, let's please try and find some. Because I need to know what other basic cognitive functions are these people lacking.
Yeah. What else don't they know?
What sort of babies have been signed up to do this escape room?
And the sad thing is as well that she monitors it and will offer clues if you're stuck. So she must have been getting more and more direct with the clues to the point that it was the combination is 4085 now. But what could it mean? Why would the prison guard send us a combination? Did they have combination locks in 15th century done a treason cells? So we go through
the 15th century is such a do you think they meant the 1500s and they just didn't know how centuries work? Because the 1400s, let's be honest,
fucking
not
boring.
What happened.
I don't know, maybe there's some bit of Canterbury law that I don't know about, and we'll never look up.
As you
were trying to theme it around. So we crawl through this tiny little hatch, which was unpleasant because the room on the other side was quite low lighting, and all I could see was straw and boxes. Two of my least favourite things to find in a room.
And yet, I'm sure key features of the 15th century.
Oh, they love a bit of straw and boxes. So the first thing inside was there was a big chessboard on a bit. There was a hatch that was locked. There was a door that was locked. There was this big below the chessboard was on a kind of outcropping of a bit of wall, and below that you could see all these chains were done up such that you could kind of see through to the next room. So our goal now is to get past these chains to the next room. There's also a big grating up as well, and the chain was padlocked. So all we had to start with was this chessboard, a jigsaw puzzle that I immediately palmed off onto Jacob because I fucking hate them. Boring bastard puzzles. And that he did successfully. And then 3 boxes in the room. One of them, I think, was already unlocked, but I can't quite remember. But we opened it, and inside was a big thing of water. And a pipe in the corner of the room said, "Fill me." So I poured the water down this pipe. It's been about a minute that we're in the room so far, in this second room. And up floated from the pipe a cork with 2 keys attached. So that was the end of being shackled.
Wow.
T-minus 2.5 minutes of shackling. And that bit of theming is out the window.
What I like
I
is
don't really
that,
see... No, go on.
What I like is that the clue element was in fact a direct instruction as to how to free yourself.
Could it
not a riddle, not
a
sort of an encrypted sentence. No. Literally, do this. Having and you didn't even have to perform an act really beyond opening an unlocked box.
Yeah.
In order to, do you think that the box was intentionally unlocked, or whether they just hadn't quite had enough time to set it up properly from the last prisoners?
Yeah, one thing Jacob and I noted was that maybe because she was quite forthcoming with additional information we didn't really want, and we wondered if she just wanted to leave it because she has to reset the room afterwards. She'd be like, "Guys, your answer, just leave. I'll open the door.
You've escaped.
Inside,
well done."
Yeah. The other thing inside was this bit of like metal piping that so far served no purpose. Meanwhile, I'm going to power through these next steps because there's a lot to get through and we'll be here all day. Meanwhile, Jacob has solved the jigsaw, which had 2 digits on it that you could read vertically. It also said in the corner of the jigsaw PTO, which is difficult to do with the jigsaw to turn it over, but luckily you could kind of lift it up and read underneath, and it said something about combine the digits with the window or something, and on the window were 2 other digits, which gave us 4 more things for a combination lock on
direct
box.
Instructions. All
very
of
direct,
these.
Very direct.
Turn over. Do this.
Unlock the box. Inside was my favourite bit of the whole thing, actually, a big chess piece of a king. Remember that it's a king, lads. That'll be important later. Right. Another bit. It's not related. Pipe.
It's not related to doing a treason, is it?
Oh, don't be silly. Actually, it's not. Not really at all.
Oh, wow.
I'm afraid to say I didn't think.
Good on them.
There was also a crucifix with a number on it. It was also a necklace, so I decided to wear that for the rest of the experience. And there was a giant old-fashioned key to this door that was next to us. So 2 things now happen. We unlock the door, which opens to reveal that it goes nowhere, which is always a good feature of a door.
Yep.
But it did have on its back a big hangman thing done in chalk, which was like 5, 3, and 4 letter words next to each other. And then a load of numbers. And having done a few puzzles in my time, we solved this one easily. It was like A equals 1.
No.
And if you read them all, yeah, of course it was. If you read them all in order, it was under the door. Under the door was Velcroed a tiny little key. You take that key and you could unlock a hatch that I haven't mentioned, which was up on the other side of the wall. Like as you come into this, you crawl into this door, and at the diagonally opposite side from where you've crawled in was a hatch that you could look through, but had previously been locked. And all you could see on the other side were skeletons and handprints, that was the best bit of
That's
theming.
Fucking theme, that is.
Yeah, it was good, actually. Oh, also, I should have mentioned, in all these boxes that we've opened so far, there are skulls and bones and shit like that.
I see. So they're really milking that particular skeletal theme.
Yeah, very much so. I'd been, as we collected them, just sort of putting them all together like a kind of toolbox of stuff that we had. So we, at this point, had about 5 skulls on the go, a bigger line of bones, more chain and padlocks than you could care to mention. Already losing track of what key did what. So the key under the door opened the hatch here, and when you slide the hatch to the side, straight in front of you, about maybe 8 feet, 10 feet away, was a big anachronistic red button, such as you might launch a nuke with in a film.
Directly from the 15th century.
Yeah, well, I've forgotten that they invented those in that century, but they were a pioneering age. To the left, now revealed, because you could kind of stick your head in this hatch if you so chose, which you didn't really want to, but you had to, was about 5 lines of prose. And what it was, right, it was stuff like, the king set off on the 4th day after the Sabbath and rode 7 miles to the north. His armies were sheltered 3 miles to the east, all this kind of shit.
Now, look, I don't want to maybe break this. It's not to do with the chessboard, is it?
You are on the right track. So this was a nice bit of the puzzle design, though, because lots of people are quite stupid. I can imagine that the only connection that you would make was that they had a lot of numbers going on. So it was obvious that you had to do something with these numbers, because the king chess piece did not look very king-like at all. He looked more like a horrid monster figure that you might meet in an alley. He'd been deformed. He was a Richard III style.
Right.
And so what you had to do, it turns out this chessboard was a maze internally, and the king was magnetic. So you had to very slowly follow the instructions. So if he was riding 7 miles north, you go forwards, east, you go right, whatever. And you follow all these instructions, and then the idea was that at the end, the king kind of, I think it was like, then the king fell off his horse, the end, or something really abrupt. They ran out of ideas. And at the end of the maze, you pull the magnetic king off the chessboard, and whatever had been attached underneath would come out. We had to do this maybe 7 times before it actually worked. So it was a lovely idea, but the magnetic power of the king was unfortunately lacking. And when eventually it did work, a little ball bearing came out which had a combination on it for the main box, I think, in the room, which was like this big old treasure box. Inside, you've guessed it, there's pipe, and there was a book with a number on to go with our cross with a number on. Couldn't wear that one, sadly. And another combination box inside.
Right.
Okay. So we've got all this pipe and a button. There's only one thing for it. We put all the pipe together. We snooker-like extended it over the bridge of the hatch. We hadn't really bothered, we noticed at this point, to kind of secure it very well, so it was bending quite a lot. We had to kind of aim at about 80 degrees upwards so that it would dip enough to hit the button. But when it did hit the button eventually, because you can imagine, I think this was the best crafted moment of the experience, because everyone's going to be, we're only doing it with 2 people, but if you imagine, I think you can do it with 6 maybe. You're all going to be gathered around this hatch, like trying to guide very precisely this little rod to touch a button without it falling off. Because if it falls off, I think you're just fucked. Like, that's
and that's only if you manage to get past the first room with the vertical combination,
and unshackle yourself, of course.
Well, exactly.
Famously challenging bit. So everyone's going to be crowded around here. It's a quiet moment. And what happens is, as soon as you touch the button, it was extremely sensitive. The loudest bang I've ever heard erupts from behind you. It was horrible, and it put me on edge for the whole rest of them. There were no more like jump scares in the whole show, I was going to say, whole experience, but that one alone made it feel like there could be more, which was quite clever, although I imagine unintentional. And what had happened was, it had released a big 15th century electromagnet on the grill behind the chains, and so this massive metal grill had fallen flat into the floor and clattered to a halt, now allowing you to crawl through, were it not for the chains that were blocking it. So the last step was, on the back of the grill, now visible, a combination for a box inside one of the other boxes that had a key that would undo the chains, so you could pull out all the chains and go through, crawling into the darkness. With me so far?
Yep.
Cool. So we go into the next room, and it's like that bit in the first Harry Potter with all the, when all the keys are flying around there. It was like that, but less flying and more hanging. There were like 150 keys hanging up about 8 foot in the air, and a box, and a load of like guttering. And basically, this room didn't make a lot of sense. All you did was combined all the guttering on a wall,
Right.
so that it made like a track. And then you found a key somewhere, I can't remember. Oh, no. Well, what was it? Once you'd done the guttering,
Yeah.
a ball rolls out or something, and it was a little UV ball, like one that glows purple under UV light,
Right.
this bouncy ball, and the whole room changed to UV, which meant that the key, like one of the keys was marked with a UV pen or a sticker or something.
Right.
So that was like the whole room done.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a combinations where we had to use the book and the Bible for some stupid thing. We're now in the final room. We didn't know that at the time. We crawl through, and for some reason, the room was just a modern day office. Like they'd completely forgotten their own theme.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be that you'd crawled out of the prison cell, I guess, and into like the warden's office.
Right.
But you just had normal modern stuff. Like you had a bookshelf. They didn't have those in the past.
Right.
He had normal, like, modern day clothes hanging up, which I immediately dressed up in, thinking that it might be part of the next room. There was no more room to come.
Oh,
so I
okay.
put on this big trench coat. It had a policeman's whistle,
Right.
a shirt, trousers, that sort of thing. They were all giant. And inside this room, we had to... It's hard to say what order you're supposed to do stuff in. There was a load of, like, wanted signs hanging up, and on the back of them was a combination, and then there was a big logbook of all the different inmates, and I think you found the number on the back of those signs corresponded to like the inmate prison number of one of the people. So you go to that page, their surname was, I think she's called Mary Bailey, but spelled Bayly, which was the letter combination to unlock this quite cool device I hadn't seen before, that is like a... They have the one in the Da Vinci Code. I forget the name for them. It's like a Da Vinci invention, supposedly, where you just... It's like you scramble letters to create a code.
I know the one.
And inside that was a door handle. And there was a door out of the room that had no handle, so we thought we'll add that together. So we stick the door handle into the door, and instead of anything normal happening, the whole room immediately blacked out, and someone started like pounding on the door.
Oh no.
And shouting. It was horrible. It was a really upsetting moment. The lights kept... I instinctively blew my policeman's whistle. That's my reaction to danger, to assert a kind of high-pitched authority through the vehicle of the whistle. The lights came back on, and that was it. That was all that happened at that point. There seemed to be nowhere else to go. But what we understood was that she hadn't actually banged on the door. She'd banged on the back of the bookshelf. So we had to take all these books off. There were like 150 books on the shelf. So at this point we were basically like removal men for this escape room, just carrying books off into piles. And we didn't want to like just chuck them off because we knew she was going to have to clear them up immediately afterwards. So we were trying to be quite careful, like putting them nicely down. And at the back of it was like a false wall that you could pull off, which is quite cool. And it said on this false wall, it had a big chalk drawing of one of the books, and we were like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to find a specific book that'll have the key in. And sure enough, we did have to find a specific book, but luckily I found it in like the first 10 I looked through, because we could have been there for hours. They were all like old charity shop books that were like fraying and decayed title pages, so you could barely see what they were anyway. We found the book, there was a key inside, opened the door. You're just out in the corridor where you started. The woman rocks up out of her office and she's like, so, you've escaped now, guys. How was it? And it was it's not that it wasn't fun, it's that asking that question just took all the fun out of it. And I felt so underwhelmed by the fact that you come out into a modern day corridor and the story just ends. Like you've escaped into the future. Because she just sort of ambled down, like she'd clearly been on Facebook or something, ambles down the corridor. Yeah, so well done, guys. Do you mind if we take a photo for the Facebook page, which we'll put up on the site, with your time? We did like 50, 51 or 52 minutes or something. She's like, yeah, that's fine. Cool, well, thanks for playing. See you next time. And we were just carted out onto the street with no time left to kind of process the experience. And I think that's the that's what, yeah, like I said at the start, what I took away from it most is that there are bits of it that were so cool and bits that were like done really well, like playing with the idea that there could be jump scares at any moment, or that someone else might come into the room, because there was this hatch mechanic through which she would deliver clues every so often, and she would just like slam it shut, so it kept you slightly on edge the whole time. But if you're going to end it with just coming out into a corridor and being welcomed into the future before just being kicked back out onto the street, it just undermines all the gravitas from it. So what I think is we should work towards a limited time only, site specific Shame City escape room for our listeners. I'm thinking for episode 100 we should try and rent a space, fill it with skeletons and
a bit of flimsy chain, and off we go.
Because it felt like it was much like, do you remember the thing we did in Edinburgh, the Blood Will Have Blood show?
Oh goodness, yes.
Tell people about that briefly.
Well, we went to this show, and we weren't expecting it to be good. Like, this is the main thing, is that it described itself as an interactive theatre experience, and it was a Macbeth spin-off, where you, which is everyone present in the room, is Fleance.
Fleance.
Banquo's son. And there was only one actual actor or actress in the piece who was playing Nebulous Witch number 1.
Nebulous Mute Witch.
That's the one, and you instead had a headset on, and you would be told the story and given lots of instructions as this went. And essentially it was an office room that had some rags tied to the walls, and the floor was covered in sticks. But not for long, because our first instruction was to pick up all the sticks.
And that was the show.
And then our second instruction was to wash the rags.
That was a show.
Which I leant over to Isaac at this point and lifted up the headset and just said, I say headset, took off the earphones, and said that it felt very much like we were just clearing up for them. Like it was towards the end of the festival. Like maybe this was like the last showing. Just get them to do that. There was a bit where we had to learn how to sword fight, but with sticks. And if you weren't very good, the witch made you do some sewing or something at the edge of the room.
It was such a sad statement
just to see like this like balding 50-year-old man already out of place, just humiliated, made to sit in the corner and fucking sew and weep.
We had a little sword fight though. You got the smallest stick in the world.
It was genuinely no bigger than one of my own fingers. And broke instantly, so I picked up the biggest fucking branch I could find in the place. But then, you were given a selection of items, little trinkets, and you had to pick one to keep, and it was like meant to be something really.
It was like a major character decision point, because the way it was delivered, a lot of it was
can we just say,
simultaneous audio.
Yeah. But
then there were lots of bits, or not lots, a few bits that it was like
I was going to say
just for one person at a time.
We say major, but it affected about 3 moments, and not heavily, because how could it all differ with you being in the same room?
With one person.
But then when we left, there was just a bloke with a big bag, like a sort of Sainsbury's bag, being like, could you just pop the trinkets back in there?
It was funny, because in the show itself, it was like, it was a little like leather pouch that you got them all out of, and it said something along the lines of, you want to keep hold of that one. So you keep hold of that one and put the rest back in the little bag. Then about 2 minutes later, it's like, you want to put that other trinket back now. Safekeeping.
Yeah.
Don't want to lose it on this floor of twigs. And so it ended with this kind of war paint moment that Toby, the director of the play I was doing, not minutes later, was upset about, because I arrived to play Alan Bennett covered in war paint. But it was the whole thing, like the escape room, had to me the vibe of this could work so well if you put a bit more thought and effort into it. We're just not quite there artistically. Because I think it's a really cool idea to have different it's quite isolating. It's weirdly isolating considering you're in a room full of people and it was such a small room when you're the one being given instructions only.
Yeah.
To be like, you come forwards to meet the witch, and you kind of look nervously around to see if anyone else is going, and they're not. And then you go forward to meet the witch, and she says nothing, and does probably nothing, but tells you to do some more washing up or something.
Yeah.
But as a concept, I think it has a lot of legs.
Yeah, I think we should definitely look into doing one.
All we need is to hire a space and a fuck ton of skulls, and to get like 8,000 padlocks. If anything, it was a bit too reliant on padlocks as a concept.
I didn't want to say, but yeah, it felt that way.
Because by the end, I'd been like collecting them all to kind of keep it a bit tidy. By the end, it was just a big box of padlocks, keys, and bones, basically. But I would say I would recommend an escape room experience. I think we should do one together.
Yeah, definitely.
I've looked up what the best one's supposed to be.
Okay.
And it's in London, so we can go and do that and report back in a future episode. Other than that, though, we've got an hour 16 now. Unless you've got any more to say, I think we should wrap up.
No, I think that we can. I only had a couple of things from my trip to Ireland.
Oh yeah, of course, you've been on holiday. Well, let's cover all that on Wednesday's
we
Ireland
can cover
special.
that in Wednesday's episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's as good a place to end. Should we
Let's
eschew the feature, or are we going to go?
Yeah,
with
let's
it?
eschew it this week, I think, because we've been too.
We did a lot of admin.
That story went on longer than I thought. Exactly, and I would just like to recap it all quickly. Shame.city is the website. There's all sorts of stuff there. You can listen to the episodes online, find our social media stuff. Shame.city/contest for the competition. That's open until like the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
TAS@shame.city is the new email address. @That's a Shamecast. @IsaacBD. @CynicalDeclan. I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think so.
If you're on an iPhone, if you're on iOS or an iPad or anything like that, go to shame.city/review.
Oh yeah, give us an iTunes review.
Yeah, iTunes reviews mean a lot to us, lads. We'd really appreciate them. But yeah, other than that, I think that does it for this Milestone episode. How's it been for you, Declan? How do you feel we've treated the Milestone?
I think we've done it justice. I think it started, I wasn't sure. It was very admin, form heavy.
It certainly was. It was a form-based episode.
But I feel like you've saved it with the story of
the
Jacob and the peasant.
treason. That's the one. Thank you very much for listening,
Yes,
guys.
thank
We'll
you,
be
guys.
back on Wednesday with episode 11.
Yep.
It's going to be a great one. We'll hear all about Declan's adventures in Ireland. I want to talk about all this nonsense freelance work I've been doing. Declan's got a lot to say on the topic
yes.
of writing articles. Until Wednesday, then, this has been That's a Shame. I've been Isaac.
I've been
You've been
Declan.
Declan. Thank you for listening. See you next week.
See you then.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. The bare necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.